mineral lick that we found to work best on our property is Lucky Buck. We've gone through a couple different kinds, but this is the one that really seems to work best on our property here. It really seems to attract the deer. Now what we'll do is we'll actually go to one of our local farm stores and we'll pick up a mineral block and we'll set that on the stump, and then we'll dump this mineral lick, Lucky Buck, right directly on top of it. Now our stumps here, we decided to go ahead and cut little blocks inside them so we can place our mineral blocks in there, and so that way when the deer are licking it or whatever wildlife may come up and lick it, that it's not going to be shoved off to one side or the other. It kind of sits securely in there. Right now you can see this mineral block has been eaten down to just about nothing. There's less than probably a square inch left in there, but one thing you want to make sure is you spread it out all over. If you're putting this mineral down, go ahead and fill the hole, put it all around. And what this stump is good for is that the stump's going to absorb this mineral into it, and the deer, as you can see, will eat the stump away eventually. It really holds the nutrients in, rather than just putting on the soil and they eat the soil and then it's gone, but it really seems to hold this in here for a longer period of time. Now, as I stated before, a mineral lick is not only good for getting deer on your property and getting a good look at them, it's very good for them when the fawns are nursing and the does need that minerals in their system, or when the deer are growing their antlers, or at the end of that rut period when the deer are just so malnourished that they need to put those minerals and stuff back into their system. So it's very healthy for the deer as well. And speaking of getting a good look of the deer on your property using minerals, we like to put up deer cameras on these mineral licks because the deer are going to stop, they're going to come in and be in this area long enough they can get a good picture of them, and we can really get a good idea of what kind of deer we have on the property, what bucks we have on the property, how their antler development's going. You get a good count of the deer on your property. So that's one thing that we really like to use these mineral licks for, is to put up a deer camera, and hopefully we'll put a deer camera up and we'll show you guys the progress and some pictures that we get off of this, and you can see the antler growth and just the number of deer that we have on this property. Another good thing about using Lucky Buck is that it comes in this 2.5 gallon containers, and they're great buckets, and so not only do you get the great mineral product, but afterwards you have this great bucket that you can use for just about anything else that you want. Well, it's finally time to plant our food plot. Seems like it's been a little bit, but I'm just kind of waiting on the weather. It's the way it always seems to go. Tomorrow the rain's supposed to come in the afternoon. It's supposed to rain for the next 3 or 4 days, so I think it's a perfect time to finally plant our soybeans. They finally came in. What we're using here is the Eagle Seed Company, and we're using their Roundup Ready soybeans. And so all that preparation we've done already with killing everything off with Roundup is really going to help us out a lot. We're going to just hand spread this in our food plot, and the reason I'm hand spreading it instead of using a handheld spreader is just because I'm used to it and gives me a better feel of what I'm spreading, how thick I'm spreading it. Since we aren't using a tractor to plant this, we are going to throw it a little bit lighter since we aren't planting it in rows. That way, again, it doesn't compete with itself and then it doesn't grow to its full potential, because we want it to grow to their full potential. Alright, now they gave us this inoculant. This is a mixture that we're going to put with the seed here, and they want you to put they give you actually one bag that will go per 50 pounds of seed. So as we go through, we're going to mix it in and go ahead and just hand spread it like I said. And so looking forward to this food plot finally getting green. Like we did earlier when we were spreading our fertilizer, we used a 2.5 gallon bucket. It just makes it a little bit easier to spread. You're carrying 2.5 gallons of seed opposed to a 50 pound bag, and like I said, we reuse our Lucky Buck buckets, and this is a great way to use it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of even this bag up as we go through and just kind of portion it out, but we're going to add a little bit to each bucket. Gives it a little bit better mixture instead of dumping it all in here and trying to mix it up some way. And so I'm going to dump a little bit of this inoculant in here, mix it up really good, and then I'll go ahead and spread it out. Alright, the sun's setting. We have one last thing to do, and we're trying to beat the dark here, but what we're going to do is we're going to drag the food plot. Whatever you have to drag it is probably okay, but we're going to drag it with old tires here. We're going to drag it. It's going to bury our soybeans just a little bit and smooth out the top, so when we get the rain tomorrow it's going to pack it down. And so that's the last thing we have left to do, and hopefully we can get done before it gets too dark. Here's your proof that prescribed burning actually does work. This area right here behind me is just really thick, and we burned this off 2 years ago. Now this was just a really thick timber stand before, but now it's got a lot of undergrowth, which provides great habitat for bedding areas for deer, or if they were to come and they wanted to have their fawns in this area, it provides a lot of cover for them and a lot of forage. So here's a proof right here that prescribed burning really does work. Well, we're losing daylight pretty fast. It always seems that we're working right till dark, or sometimes even after dark. But guys, thanks for joining the Hunting Grounds. I hope you guys learned something beneficial today, and if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to just post them in the blog on YouTube, and I'll be happy to answer them on the video or any way that I can. As always, have a better than average day, and be sure to tell your friends.